Rethinking US Education for a Global Society. As the famed Dr. Martin Luther King once said, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. As I take a moment to reflect over what I have learned during our time in this course, I cannot help but to be fascinated by the large amount of information that I have gained, not only about the various countries themselves, but about education in general. Not coming from an educational background, I found myself lacking in regards to the overall understanding of educational systems and how they are developed. This course, I must say, has truly provided me with a more in-depth understanding of not only the educational system of the United States, but also some of the major systems from around the world. It has amazed me how many similarities and differences they all have with one another, how the majority of the countries struggle greatly with the issue of diversity and how to properly address this ever-growing concern, how socioeconomic status creates an enormous divide for many. But more importantly, it has opened my eyes to the fact that a student is a student, regardless of what culture they may be in. Overall, the end goal is always to educate and enlighten the youth of the world so that they may grow into progressive and successful adults one day. The question this raises is this: which method will most effectively get us to this goal without taking away the one thing that matters most, the joy and memories that one has from being a child? We began our journey in the United States, a country that has always taken pride in being a powerhouse. However, the reality is this great country is struggling to make it to the top of the educational ranking system. We are a country where equality and justice still remains an issue. We are a country where competition is king, a place where the educational system will vary from state to state, city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood. However, regardless of what the record shows, the U.S. as a whole has a strong commitment to resolve these issues, a place where competition runs rampant. But despite our struggles, we find some way to unify in order to demonstrate our overall desire for a much improved country for ourselves, but more importantly, our children. Can we possibly learn something from our competition? Can we glean from their struggles and triumphs in the world of education? On our journey to the top, is it possible for us as a country to take bits and pieces from the best and the worst and fuse together a system that would meet the needs of our diverse nation? During our journey, we visited a variety of new and exciting places. However, in this review, I'm only going to take the time to focus on those systems I feel will have the greatest potential of providing structural assistance to the U.S. educational system. At the start of our journey, we traveled through the unique countries of England, with its centralized educational system, Singapore, with its thinking schools, South Korea and its hagwons, Hong Kong, which has undergone major reform, and then made a stop in Shanghai. Shanghai is a country that has been ranked number 1 in reading, science, and mathematics in the 2012 PISA assessment. This country has undergone major curriculum, pedagogical, and teacher reform. They have reduced content. They have also taught that responsibility is key, where teachers are exchanged among schools, and the best performing schools now take responsibility for those that are weaker. Also, they have replaced the traditional rote learning with creative thinking and problem solving. From Shanghai, we traveled on to Germany, where Anne introduced us to their educational track system. Then, Natalie took us to Guinea. I focus on this country because of its poor environment, where only approximately 43% of all students go to school after the sixth grade. Is it possible that this population of people could represent those in the United States who are continually forgotten? Those students who don't have the money to make ends meet to go to school? Those students who are forced to stay at home to help their parents work? From Guinea to Austria, with its overcrowding and suffering migrant population, from Austria to Brazil, with its small strides in reducing its overall illiteracy rate, to Italy, with its listening pedagogy, to our next stop of Switzerland. The country of Switzerland, with its high diversity and decentralization, it is known for having very low childhood unemployment rates and is also known for their children being trained for productivity regardless of their graduation from secondary schools. The key thing that I find this country could contribute to the U.S. educational system are its VET programs, which provide students not only with academia, but with job-specific field experience and training. Possibly a more structured idea than the U.S. implemented vocational technological schools. On from Switzerland, we go to Pakistan with its high gender inequality. We then progress to Scotland with its focus on well-rounded individuals. Definitely a plus. Next stop, Finland, an educational system that was once at the top of the game but has slowly taken a slight fall from its high ranking. The Finnish educational system has been long admired for its strong focus on the student, its high level of funding, which makes education relatively free for all, its highly trained educators, which are among the country's top 10% of high school graduates, its focus on equality over excellence, its promotion of childhood independence, and the extension of recess, allowing a child to be a child. And let's not forget the lack of exams and homework. Testing is not an option until 16 years of age. This allows for a more relaxed environment. However, even with these great attributes, this country has slowly been falling from the top of the PISA ranking system. Could it be that they have become too complacent, like the United States in various areas, not focusing on what is more important for this country? It's technology, some believe. From Finland, we travel on to the remote country of Japan, a country whose environment is extremely competitive, where the students have a high eagerness to learn, where they have high levels of responsibility in regards to not only their academia, but they're also responsible for school maintenance. However, in this educational system, just as the same with China and Hong Kong and Shanghai and Singapore, the students are taught respect. They're taught to admire and require themselves to do better and strive for excellence in education. There is a rigidity that is implemented from the government-controlled system, a system that prohibits individual thought, but strongly emphasizes memorization. However, we can even learn from countries such as this. We as a country can learn from Japan to have a higher regard for education, to teach our children to have a greater respect for it and its purpose in our lives. That it is necessary for us to progress to the next level of our professional development as individuals as well as a country. From Japan, we journey over to China, where Kelly, Amanda, and Allison introduced us to this very competitive country and its Hope schools. And last but not least, we go to Canada and Ontario. Canada, with its diverse population and its ability to tighten the gap between its immigrants and natives, even on the PISA exam. And Ontario, with its increased graduation rates, its literacy and numeracy. As I look back over all of the different countries that we have traveled to, east to west, north to south, I see a richness, a fullness that we all could learn from one another. Little tidbits of positivity and even some negativity. However, all of them are foundation builders that will allow us all to reach our goal of educating our youth. Each and every country, with its uniqueness, with its struggles, and its triumphs. As the journey has come to an end, I begin to reflect on those key points that I previously mentioned for each of the countries that we've carefully traveled through. However, all have something that they can contribute to the overall improvement of one another, but more importantly in our case, to advancement of our great country. But I'll leave you with this. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon you can choose to change the world.